Hello there, and welcome to week 17 of our movie review series. For this week, we will be reviewing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. All right, let's break down how this movie will be rated. There will be 5 categories, and each one of those categories will have a rating scale of 1 to 10. Plus, there will be a bonus category called Secret Sauce. The max that this movie can receive as far as points is 50 points, and the max they can receive as far as Secret Sauce is 5. So grab your niffler, because it's time for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The film opens in New York City in 1926. At a customs checkpoint, we meet Newt Scamander, who nervously clutters his battered suitcase. Before handing the suitcase over to the inspector, he flips the switch to Muggle Safe Mode, and the case passes inspection, and he enters the city. Newt wanders through the bustling streets. He comes across a loud demonstration by the New Salem Philanthropic Society. While watching, he notices his little troublemaker, the Niffler, has slipped out of its case and is busy stealing coins from a homeless person's hat before it darts straight into a near bank. Newt rushes after him, completely unaware that someone else has been watching him the whole time. Inside the bank, Newt crosses paths with Jacob Kalowski, who's there hoping for a loan to open his own bakery. In the chaos of chasing the Niffler, Newt drops a strange-looking egg, which Jacob picks up to return, but he's immediately called into his appointment. After being denied the loan, Jacob steps out just in time to see the egg start hatching in his hands. Spotting Newt, he calls out, and Newt quickly uses magic to pull Jacob into a more private area so they can safely watch the creature hatch, just as the Niffler slips deeper into the bank vault. After the egg hatches, Newt slips deeper into the bank, heading straight for the vault. Out of pure curiosity, Jacob follows him down the steps, and inside they finally spot the slippery little Niffler, happily sneaking around inside the vault with anything shiny it can grab. As Newt tries to wrangle the creature, the bank manager suddenly shows up, forcing Newt to use a quick spell to handle the situation. He empties the Niffler's pockets just as the police rush down the stairs. And with one more spell, Newt transports himself and Jacob outside of the bank. But as the police close in, Newt tries to wipe Jacob's memory. Panicked, Jacob swings one of the matching suitcases at Newt and runs, completely unaware that the case he grabbed isn't his at all. As Newt tries to chase down Jacob, he suddenly is confronted by Tina Goldstein. She reveals that she works for the Magical Congress of the United States of America, or MACUSA, and that Newt has violated several wizarding laws. She drags him to the headquarters, where Newt discovers she is no longer an aura. She's been demoted to the Federal Wand Permit Office. Tina presents Newt to Mr. Graves, insisting that Newt is carrying a magical creature in his case. But when Graves orders him to open the case, it reveals nothing but an innocent pile of pastries, leaving Tina completely embarrassed and Newt quite relieved. We return back to Jacob, who now has realized he grabbed the wrong case, and a few creatures burst out, and one even bites him. We then cut to Credence, where we get a glimpse of his harsh home life with his adoptive mother and siblings, showing just how strict and oppressed things are for him. It doesn't take long after leaving HQ for Newt and Tina to track down Newt's missing case to Jacob's apartment, where they step inside to investigate. Inside, they find Newt's case and Jacob, injured from the creature's bite. Worried for his safety, Tina insists that both Jacob and Newt come back to her apartment so they can keep an eye on him. We then cut to the Shaw family, where the youngest son, Landon, has brought up Credence and his mother to warn his father about the strange magical events in the city. But Henry Shaw Sr. dismisses it and tells him that he has to focus on his eldest son's political campaign. As the group leaves, Credence drops his pamphlet, and Senator Shaw picks it up and calls Credence under his breath a freak. Tina brings Newt and Jacob back to her apartment, where we meet Queenie, her sister. She's warm, bubbly, and instantly welcoming. She can read people's thoughts without trying, and she becomes immediately smitten with Jacob. The sisters insist that they eat, and they whip up dinner using magic, leaving Jacob completely amazed as ingredients float around the kitchen, and they all share a cozy meal together. We jump back to Credence, who has slipped into a back alley to secretly meet with Mr. Graves. Graves presses Credence, asking whether he has found the child with magical abilities yet. and Credence admits he hasn't, but insists he's getting closer. After their meal, Queenie and Tina generously give up their bedroom so the boys can get some sleep. But once that door closes, Newt pops open his suitcase and climbs right inside and invites Jacob to follow. Inside the suitcase, Newt gives Jacob some meds for the bite on his neck and then begins showing him the magical habitats he's built and the creatures he's rescued. Each strange and more incredible than the last, and Jacob is absolutely blown away. But while exploring, he wanders too close to something dark and swirling inside a floating bubble. Newt quickly pulls him away and warns him to stay away from it. Back at home, Credence's mother immediately questions why he has been gone so long. He apologizes, but it doesn't matter. She orders him upstairs for his punishment, and he quietly follows. As Newt and Jacob search the quiet nighttime streets for the rest of the missing creatures, they spot a trail of shiny valuables, clear evidence that a Niffler is nearby. The trail leads them to a jewelry store where the Niffler is gleefully looting everything it can grab. Newt and the creature tear the place apart in a chaotic chase until Newt finally catches them. Just then, the police show up, and it looks like they're about to be arrested. But as Jacob notices something out of the corner of his eye, he blurts out, "Lion!" The officers turn, confused, to see an actual escaped lion wandering down the streets. In the chaos, Newt uses magic to whisk himself, Jacob, and the Niffler out of sight, helping them slip away from the police. In Central Park, Newt and Jacob track down the next escaped creature. Newt tries to lure it back into the box with some pheromones and an awkward dance, but Jacob accidentally spills them on himself and becomes the new target. After a chaotic chase, complete with Newt losing and recovering his wand, they manage to subdue the creature and get it safely back in the case. Realizing Newt and Jacob have slipped out, Tina tracks them down to Central Park and seizes the chance to capture them, case and all. As she heads back to HQ, the street lights flicker, and a dark force rushes past her. We then cut to Senator Shaw's campaign event, where the Obscurus violently attacks and kills him. Landon insists to his father that it was magic, and Henry Shaw Sr. furiously vows vengeance. Tina barges in on a closed MACUSA meeting, only to learn that Senator Shaw has been. When Newt emerges from the case, Graves accuses him of unleashing the creature behind the attacks and even conspiring with Grindelwald. Since Tina brought Newt in, she's arrested too, along with Jacob. In the holding cell, Newt finally explains what an Obscurus is. A dark, destructive force born when a magical child is forced to suppress their powers. The Obscurus forms inside them, and without its host, it can't survive for long. When questioned by Graves why Newt has an Obscurus, Newt reveals that he once rescued a young girl who carried one, and he only keeps it to study and never to harm anyone. But as he speaks, Graves' true intentions begin to surface. Instead of listening, he coldly sentences both Newt and Tina to the death cell, a chamber where victims are lowered into a dissolving pool. Queenie, sensing Tina is in danger, rushes to HQ and frees Jacob. Newt's creatures disrupt the execution, allowing him to save Tina and himself. The group reunites, and Queenie orders them inside the case so she can smuggle them calmly out of HQ. Graves meets with Credence again and gives him a necklace, telling him that when Credence finally finds the magical child, all he has to do is activate the necklace, and Graves will come to him immediately. Regrouping on a rooftop, Newt explains that one of his missing creatures is invisible and will be tough to track. Tina then remembers an old contact who might be able to help, so the group heads out to find him. At the speakeasy, the group meets Nerlak, a goblin gangster who agrees to share information, but only if Newt hands over Pickett. Reluctantly, Newt trades him, and Nerlak reveals that an invisible creature has last been seen near Macy's. Moments later, they realize he's double-crossed them when the Aurors storm the place. A fight breaks out, but the group escapes in the chaos, and Newt manages to snatch Pickett back before they flee. We return to Credence, who discovers his sister has found a wand. When their strict mother storms in, both siblings try to protect each other, but the mistreatment pushes Credence too far. He finally snaps, unleashing his Obscurus and destroying his mother in the chaos. With their tip in hand, Newt and the group head to Macy's, where they find the demiguise in the attic soothing an alchemy that has grown enormous since hatching. Newt explains that the alchemy can expand or shrink to fit whatever space they're in. After a chaotic chase, the group manages to coax the creature into a tiny teacup. With the alchemy finally contained, they climb back into Newt's case to return it safely to its habitat. We jump back to Credence, devastated and desperate for approval. Graves appears and demands that Credence take him to the girl, only to reveal he never planned to teach Credence magic at all. That Credence is a waste of time. When Graves turns his attention to Credence's sister, something inside of Credence finally snaps. Graves suddenly realizes the truth. Credence is the powerful child. Credence erupts into a full Obscurus, blasting out of the building in a storm of rage. Back inside the case, Newt is warned by the Thunderbird that something is wrong outside. The group climbs out and runs straight into Graves and Credence. They chase leads them into a subway where Tina insists that Credence isn't a monster. He's a terrified boy who needs help. Newt almost manages to calm Credence, promising him that he can help him, just like he helped the other child with the Obscurus. But Graves steps in, manipulating Credence, and the boy loses control again, and Newt and Graves battle. Auroras arrive, and despite Tina and Newt's desperately begging them to stop, they unleash spell after spell on the Obscurus until Credence seemingly disintegrates under the assault. When the president confronts Graves for his ruthlessness, he snaps and declares that wizards should rule openly and no longer hide from the non-magical world. He attacks, but Newt releases the swooping evil, restraining him long enough for everyone to see the truth. Graves is actually Grindelwald in disguise. With the wizarding world exposed, Newt reveals a plan to fix everything. He uses the venom from his swooping evil and releases his Thunderbird to create a magical rainstorm that will wipe the memories of every no-mage who witnessed the chaos. But that means Jacob has to forget too. In a bittersweet farewell, Queenie kisses him in the rain before stepping away, leaving Jacob to lose the memories of the friends and the world he grew so close to. After being bumped into outside of work, realizing his case was switched, Jacob opens it up to find a note and valuable alchemy eggshells, encouraging him to open his own bakery. Next, we see Newt boarding his ship back to London, and he tells Tina he'd like to deliver his finished book to her in person, something she happily agrees to. In the final scene, Jacob's bakery is thriving, filled with pastries shaped like Newt's creatures, as if some part of him still remembers. When Queenie walks in, Jacob smiles at her with a faint spark of recognition, hinting that the magic isn't entirely gone. I think what makes this story work so well is that it offers a fresh and more mature take on the wizarding world. Instead of focusing on Hogwarts and school-age heroes, we follow a completely new group of characters with their own struggles, personalities, and stories. It expands onto the wizarding world in a way that feels both familiar and entirely new, building a foundation for a different corner of the franchise while still standing strong on its own charm, imagination, and sense of adventure.
And the final verdict is...
When it comes to the characters of Fantastic Beasts, we're introduced to a fresh lineup and a genuinely charming cast. First, we have Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne. He's an awkward, soft-spoken mad zoologist with a deep love for magical creatures. His gentle, quirky nature sets him apart and gives the film its warmth and compassionate core. Then there's Jacob Kalowski, played by Dan Fogler, a non-mage who accidentally stumbles into Newt's world. He's funny, warm, and full of awe, and honestly, he gives the movie a huge chunk of its heart. Next is Tina Goldstein, played by Katherine Waterston. Tina is a determined former Auror trying to earn back her position. She's principled, serious, and provides the perfect balance to Newt's chaotic energy with her structure and focus. And then we have Queenie Goldstein, played by Alison Sudol. She's bubbly, kind, and a natural mind reader. Queenie brings a light, romantic charm to the group, especially through her sweet chemistry with Jacob. And finally, we have Graves, the film's mysterious antagonist, played by Colin Farrell, until it's revealed that he's actually Grindelwald in disguise, portrayed by Johnny Depp. This twist not only redefines everything we see him do, but instantly expands the story's scope and sets the stage for a much bigger conflict that the sequels will dive into. I think what makes these characters so great is how layered and relatable they are. Newt's gentle compassion and social awkwardness contrast perfectly with Tina's determination and focus, adding Queenie's warmth and Jacob's down-to-earth humor, and together they form a wonderfully balanced, charming group that feels fresh in the wizarding world. Even the villains, especially Grindelwald, are written with real flaws and depth, giving the story an emotional weight and genuine tension. It's a cast full of personalities that feel human, magical, and unforgettable all at once.
And the final verdict is...
What makes the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them soundtrack so good is how beautifully it expands on the musical world we already know. Composer James Newton Howard blends fresh new themes with subtle echoes to the classic Harry Potter motifs, giving the film its own identity while still feeling connected to the larger wizarding world. Each major character and creature gets its own musical signature, and those light motifs evolve throughout the film, making the emotional moments hit even harder. The sweeping orchestra, sound, dynamic action cues, and enchanting magical riffs help define the movie's atmosphere. It's not just background music, it's an essential part of the storytelling.
And the final verdict is...
The visuals of this movie so impressive is how seamlessly they blend the real with the magical. The film recreates 1926 New York with incredible detail, grounding all that fantasy in a world that feels authentic and lived in. The creatures look so believable because the team used a mixture of on-set puppets, practical effects, and CGI, giving the actors something real to interact with before the digital magic was added. This combination made every beast feel alive. Even the spells were updated with a smoother, more dynamic visual that refreshed the classic Harry Potter look. Everything worked because the visual effects teams were involved from the start, helping design creatures and scenes early on so the film felt more cohesive and natural. Overall, the visuals succeeded because they combined rich period design, thoughtful creature work, and polished CGI to bring a new side of the wizarding world to life.
And the final verdict is...
When it comes to the cultural impact of this film, I think what really makes it stand out is how it expands the wizarding world and gives it more of a mature tone. We get fresh lore, deeper origin stories, and a global perspective fans have never seen before. The film also explores heavier into themes such as bigotry, intolerance, and fear of others. On top of that, we're introduced to a political layer that the original Harry Potter series only hinted at, making the world feel richer, bigger, and far more complex. I think what really makes this movie so special is how it expands the Harry Potter world for a generation that grew up with it. Most of us who read the books and watched the movies as kids were adults by the time Fantastic Beasts came out, and the story grew up with us. It explores new places, new ideas, and more mature themes, almost as if the wizarding world evolved right alongside the fans who loved it from the beginning.
And the final verdict is... And now secret sauce time. Does this movie have what it takes to deserve secret sauce? Final score.
Well, if you like this movie review, make sure to hit the like button before this little niffler runs off with the button. And also make sure to hit the subscribe button because we've got many more movie reviews just like this coming down the line. So you don't want to miss out on that. But until next week, stay safe and I'll catch you in the next movie review. Bye.
That's for you, Kai.